we're doing a giveaway. We are going to be giving away 3 copies of WWE 2K26 to those in our Discord. So join our Discord before WrestleMania if you want a chance at winning one of those. It's free to join, and it's a wrestling community where you could go and chat with other wrestling fans. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Let's get to the video. Welcome to another episode of RTP Wrestling. I'm your host, RTP and ANT in HD, and next to me is nobody because me and John's schedules didn't line up this week. It's okay though. I get to primarily focus on NXT Stand and Deliver. This week was the start of a busy month in wrestling, man. We start off with Stand and Deliver. Next week we have AEW Dynasty, and the week after that we got WrestleMania. So if you guys want to hear all about that, this is the place to do it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you don't like this channel, I got 2 words for you. Comment. Okay, let's get into this. Let's just fucking get into Stand and Deliver. I'm not going to talk too much today about Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite and all that. We typically do. But, man, I just feel like talking about Stand and Deliver. It's Easter, man. I want to be with my family after this. So enough of the chitter chatter. To start off the show, we opened it up with JC Jane versus Kendall Gray. And JC Jane versus Kendall Gray versus Lola Vice. A triple threat NXT women's title match. And I got to say, this match was, I want to say, ratings-wise, I have this marked down as the second best match of the show. This match was phenomenal, as we all know. If you're not living under a rock, Kendall Gray is hooping as far as wrestling goes. I believe she's wrestled less than 40 matches, and she still is one of the best performers on the roster, in my opinion. Lola Vice is someone who I think she was hot, right? Like, she was on fire when she came up. She won the NXT Top Contender Tournament, whatever it's called, before they kind of get to NXT. She cashed in on Roxanne, lost. I felt like that was kind of her peak for a while. And then Triple A's kind of revitalized her as this mainstay type of talent. So Lola Vice ends up winning this match, absolutely deserved. And JC Jane's another wrestler who, JC Jane, if you are not in the loop, has been kind of carrying the NXT Women's Division. Hey, boy, need a little water. My bad. JC Jane has been great, obviously, and this match was great. The finish was great. It ended with the spinning back fist right to JC Jane's head. Now, where we go from here, right, is I feel like what all wrestling fans should be focused on when they're covering wrestling. There's 2 angles, right? Either you call up Fatal Influence and JC Jane to the main roster, throw them on SmackDown or throw them on Raw. Or you run this NXT storyline where JC Jane can't win alone. She needs to leave Fatal Influence. JC Jane versus Fallon Henley, which I could definitely see that being the case too. But I would like to see more stables get called up, man. They broke up the family. They broke up Chase U. Let's leave Fatal Influence as a group and call them all up together. I know Laney Reed is young, but we called up Maxine Dupree so young. And I know there's mixed opinions on that. But Maxine Dupree, if she stayed another year or 2 in NXT, would not be some 5-star amazing wrestler. And Laney Reed might be a better wrestler than Maxine already. Yeah, I think where we go from here is a Lola Vice. I don't want them to go back to Kalani Jordan. Maybe we get Lola Vice, Blake Monroe. I'm not sure if we've seen that. Lola Vice, Kendall Gray. There's definitely angles. And shout out JC Jane again. A long reign, great matches in that reign. I'm not knocking her at all, but I think the storyline buildup is something that I think NXT desperately needs. There's not a lot of great storylines in NXT right now. I think Lola Vice might be able to do a better job. JC Jane did a great job at putting herself over, but there was never really a feud I cared about for the other person or for really anything other than maybe Kendall Gray just because it would be cool, but that's not really a storyline, I guess. The next match, this was my match of the night. Now, this may be a hot take, but Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor swipe right, the Vanity Project, whatever they're going by nowadays, versus Bravo and Ryo, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. It's so interesting because I am at such a crossroads, shout out Cody, with Bravo and Ryo. Like, I think WWE desperately needs more good mid-carders like Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate to get kind of out of this gimmick, out of the tag team division. But at the same time, man, seeing two strong style wrestlers completely convert their style to lucha libre at this level with the sombreros, with the salsa dancing, they look like, I mean, there's no Hurricane Ranas or nothing like that, but they could kind of fly, man. They were going up, they were going off the top. I can't wait for the reveal of them eventually, like, oh, we got you guys, you know, it's gonna be a good one. But the Vanity Project, man, they are not great performers, but they did keep up in this match. There wasn't amazing Vanity Project spots, I'll say. But they're really good at selling and making you feel like, damn, they're really gonna hurt. The little nut tap shot always never fails. The head, metal in the head with the Grande Americano group or whatever. Man, I'm spiraling right now. But this was a fun match. I want to get that clear. And if you don't watch NXT Stand and Deliver, watch this match because there's a lot to find enjoyment out of. I think what NXT does right is they just let the wrestlers go. When I'm watching the main roster, it kind of feels like they're always trying to push to something, you know, some storyline. Oh, we got to be so tight on time that Roman and Punk get 30 minutes and blah, 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 blah. I don't really give a fuck about none of that. If you give me good, fun matches like this, I won't complain. So this was probably my match of the night. And I will say, I think this was my match of the week. There wasn't a lot of great matches in WWE and AEW this week. We get the Sol Ruca versus Zarya. I'm not sure if this is the blow-off match. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a stipulation because why the fuck did they not do a stipulation match for this one? But this was an okay match. I gave it 2 3/4 stars. Sol Ruca obviously is a great wrestler, but she has that athletic stuff down. The flippy-dippy, blah, blah, blah. But we need a little bit more of that selling, facial reactions, promos. I just don't buy a lot of the stuff she does outside of doing cool flips, which I'll be honest, I felt the same way about Tiffany Stratton, and I'm completely wrong when she goes to the main roster. She goes out in hoops. I feel like Sol, I don't want to sound like a hater, but I would rather see Sol in some sort of tag team, like a built tag team, where you get this flippy style and a strong style or flippy style and a grappler or something more interesting than that. But Sol Ruca by herself, I'm cool with the clips and stuff, but a full 15-minute, 20-minute match, she's got to have a better worker than Zarya with her. Like, her match versus Bayley at Saturday Night's Main Event was amazing. She had good matches with, like, Blake Monroe, Mariah May. Zarya is a believable powerhouse, though. I'll give her that. She seems like one of those I'm unkillable. I like the Mad Max thing. I think it's a cool little theme, a cool little vibe for me. But you're losing a Sol, and Sol's probably going to get called up, and you're going to be sitting there on NXT after taking a loss. I guess Sol's supposed to be believable, but in my head, I can't believe it yet. Now we go to Johnny Gargano and Miles Bourne, and man, oh man, was I expecting something amazing from this match, and was I disappointed. This match felt so slow. To start off, Johnny Gargano did not come out to Rebel Hearts. That is a mistake. That is the biggest mistake, because that's what I was most excited for, you know. This Rebel Heart, da, da, da. Come on. And we did not get that. We get that boring-ass song, Def Rebelled. We get Johnny Wrestling chants in this intro, which was cool. And then Miles Bourne, I don't know what the fuck his intro is, but he's like, break, you know, whatever it is. Anyway, I cannot get behind Miles Bourne, sadly. I think he has the look. He does have that, like, 2005 call-up vibe, Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar kind of look to him, but he just can't go, man. He can't go. I believe he's a powerhouse, but if you can't have a banger match with Johnny Gargano, I don't know what to tell you. I wanted to come into this match and be like, fuck yeah, Johnny Gargano delivered, and I'm on board with Miles Bourne, whether that's because of Gargano or not. I'm blaming Miles Bourne more than Gargano, and I don't understand why Gargano loses this match either. They gassed up he's undefeated at Stand and Deliver. They should just make his ass the fucking Stand and Deliver Undertaker. He could come out once every fucking 3 months and call someone out, and you get that Stand and Deliver match. But we don't get that. We get another Johnny Gargano loss. We're going to get more planking on SmackDown. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. Like, I'm confused at what his angle is, and I'm starting to become... I hate, like, when Tommaso Ciampa left, and it's like, okay, we need Gargano to leave now. I hate that because you're saying it just because everyone in the internet's saying it. I'm here now. I was fine with, like, the Gargano funny gimmick, but... this was the perfect opportunity for him to win, for him to set up something cool in NXT for a little bit. I understand Miles Bourne is a guy that everyone wants to see pushed. Everyone wants to see, oh, he's the truth, he's the future. I just don't see it. I would have given the win to Gargano and Miles Bourne back to it. I think Miles Bourne would work better as a heel. I think that's my hot take of the day. Blake Monroe versus Tatum Paxley brought me back, though. This one was a good match. Great finish. Tatum Paxley's finish is like the cemetery, trip down the cemetery or something like that. It was a great transition into that move. And this was a great match too. I felt like the last two matches kind of took me out of it, and this one brought me back a little bit. There were some cool spots. The fake, oh, my shoulder was cool. Usually I cringe at shit like that. But I was a fan of this. You know, I enjoyed this match. I like Blake Monroe. I think Blake Monroe is one of the best female wrestlers, probably the best on WWE. It's like her and Io. I think as far as ring work rate or whatever these internet geeks say, that's where I would give Blake Monroe the shine. And I think her as a character worker is one of the best, one of the most elite as well. So shout out Blake Monroe, shout out Tatum Paxley. I know there's a lot of Tatum Paxley truthers. I'm not really one of them, but I do see why. No hate in my heart for this one. Now, the NXT Fatal 4-Way Championship main event cinema. Tony D'Angelo fucking does it, bro. Now, I love the family. I wish they never broke up the family, but seeing Tony D'Angelo in a more serious character, sure, go ahead. I mean, the family I thought was serious, even though they had these like goofy vignettes. I thought it was a serious group, and now we don't see like Adriana Rizzo on TV anymore. Stax, it just completely fell off. I hate that he's just Ariana Grace's fucking woman in their relationship. And then I forgot who the third guy was. I don't know his name, but he always had the cool suits, and I think he was a big reason the family broke up, and then he didn't do shit. So Tony D, man, I just think is an underrated performer. I wish he got called up. I could see him being in a like, he is a stable leader. He just has that vibe, and they're not doing that. Now, this was interesting. I usually hate we don't know what to do with our 4 main event talents, so let's just throw them in a Fatal 4-Way at Stand and Deliver. There was an interesting dynamic here with Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. I don't know who's going to get the finish, blah, blah, blah. And I think now they're going to spiral off into a beef, which kind of sucks because they beefed right when Ricky came to NXT. And I don't know if I need to see any more of that. You know, I would like one of them to get caught up. Maybe one of them disappear from NXT TV for a while and you call up Ethan Page, because Ethan Page has been on NXT way too long. He is a ready-to-go talent. And again, I'm going to emphasize this is what I was saying about Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. The main roster is missing this mid-card talent. There's no mid-card talent. You have Javon. Trick is starting to feel more like a main eventer. Sammy should be slotted in the main event. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. You have Carmelo. You have Ilya. Who is serious mid-card talent? I guess like Dirty Dom. But I need more of these. Maybe not even mid-card talent. Maybe some undercard, lower-level talent guys that you could just kind of slot in. Bring everyone up and down, because there is no more undercard in the WWE. It is just either you're a main eventer, you're kind of in the mid-card, you're fighting for the IC, you're fighting for the US, and then it's like you're left off the pay-per-views every time. So one of these guys should get caught up. And Joe Hendry, he's great, man. You know, I was kind of a hater when he came to NXT and he gets the belt and all that. I think he's probably going to get caught up to SmackDown now, because he was on SmackDown when he joined WWE, and then everyone else got caught up, so they kind of just dropped him back down. I think Joe Hendry's obviously a ready-to-go talent. I think all 4 of these guys are ready to go, but if we could get a little lengthy Tony D'Angelo iconic reign, there's a lot of guys he could run through. The Keanu Carvers of the world. I forgot what that one dude's name is, but the dude that they're saying is the next, or he's a Make-A-Wish Obafemi or something like that. I don't see that. I just think he's a black guy, and I feel like people are just throwing that there because that's what they align it with. I think he's a completely different character, a completely different style of the big man wrestling. So, anyway, there's a lot of guys for him to have great matches with. You get Shawn Legacy, Jackson Drake, Eli Knight. You could have a long Tony D'Angelo reign, because there is no one really ready for that title right now, especially if you're going to move Ricky and Ethan out of this picture and Joe Hendry gets caught up. But you guys let me know. Am I tripping? Make sure to leave those 2 words, comment. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw a little bit. Cody Rhodes kicks off Raw versus Stephanie McMahon. I did not like this segment at all. I thought his SmackDown promo was way better, and that TKO line was fire. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about on SmackDown is on Raw, is we finally get a Gunther WrestleMania opponent versus Seth Rollins. I can't wait for them to explain this tomorrow night on Raw so I could understand the angle a little bit more. But if they give Gunther and Seth time to work, this could be match of the year. You know, we could just put that out there now. And then on AEW, the only thing I really wanted to hit on was Chris Jericho is back, baby. Now, I wanted him to come to WWE for a retirement run, but if I get to keep hearing Judas, then I'm not going to complain. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of This Week in Wrestling. I've been your host, RTP, ANT, and HD. We out. Bow, and shout out to Ricochet.